Okay, last stage. You're ready now to go ahead and just export this thing. So you got your video done. You know, it's brilliant. You don't even know what to do. You're so excited. So now you just need to figure out how to get it out of the computer and render it. And remember that Premiere is basically taken all the stuff that's over here and it's put a representation of that into your timeline. And if your computer's really slow, it's going to have a hard time rendering what it'll look like in real life, like in regular time, if your computer isn't super souped up fast one. But it's just going to kind of give you a representation or a simulacra, basically, of what it's actually going to look like when you export it. So exporting it is like the proofing. You want to do it early and make sure it looks good. So you can, if it doesn't, you can go back in and fix stuff before it's actually due and you have to turn it in. So what you want to do is basically you're going to render all of the effects and weird stuff you told it to do here. So if we go to, again, into Premiere, and you know, we look at our timeline, everything is good. We've previewed it as best we can. What you want to do now is you want to go up to File, Export, and you want to go to Media. And when you do that, it's going to bring up basically this like kind of like queue thing. It's going to bring up this media sort of encoder kind of a thing. And there are all kinds of like, all of these are options for you in terms of what you export to. So, you know, if you're working on like a feature-length movie, you're going to use one of these. If you're going to work, if you're just working on like a simple little QuickTime movie, you might do that. But what I'm going to recommend for us is H.264, which is kind of a web, basically a web-based format, and we're going to go ahead and export with that. But I need to, oops, sorry, my bad. Did something down there. Cancel that. Right now what it has, it's since I don't have, it was going to do just that one thing. I need to make sure I have my sequence 1 selected in here. So I want to make sure I do that first thing. Make sure it's selected. Then go up to File and go to Export and go to Media. And now it'll export out what we've been telling it to. So that was a good thing for you to see, just because you got to be careful. You have the right thing selected in there. So now we just want to go in and figure out, okay, where's my start and my stop? Like, where do I want my start and end of this video to go? So if you don't have it really well planned out, you can just go in here and like, you know, because my timeline ran all the way to like 20 minutes or something like that. So I'm just going to go to a certain place where it looks like it's ready to be done. Probably what, 90 seconds, something like that. Go in here and I'm just going to move this thing back to that spot. So it's better if you actually do a nice clean edit in the timeline, but if you don't, it's okay. And then I'm going to make sure I have my H.264 selected. I'm going to make sure I you know, leave all of this stuff alone unless you really know what you're talking about. There are all these options and things that professionals use that you're going to probably want to just leave alone and stay out of the way. So if you look through all of this stuff, there's audio settings. You can play with that if you just want to export the audio for some reason. But if it's all set and ready to go, you can just basically add it to the queue. So if you put it in line, basically, you can click on this button and it will, you know, it's going to export the data out to this media encoder program that's out here that's going to come up. And so now it's basically all set and ready to render. And just going to export it. You can, you know, you can change some of this stuff now, but the main thing to check is where am I placing this thing? Like, where do I want to put it? You know, if you don't know, stick it on your desktop so you can see it. You know, just, you know, render a test sequence just to see if it looks right. You know, just again, because all Premiere does is render it for us as a kind of a facsimile. So once you're done, once it's ready, once you have everything set, you selected where it is, you just click on that, and then you click this little green arrow, the Start Queue, and it will, you know, render this thing for you. So it's preparing the audio right now. We'll see how it all turns out, and it's gonna just basically go through all of these settings that we told it to, and it's gonna export that thing out for us. So when this is over with, when it's done, we can go back to you know, the Premiere program and change stuff if we need to. If we don't like the way it looks, sometimes it's a great idea to do this and then find something else to do for a day and come back and double check it and make sure it actually looks the way you want it to. If you have a slow computer, this is going to take forever. But it's just basically cranking through all of this now and rendering our file for us. So again, I'll show you this in class maybe, and you can see how it sort of looks. But one of the things that you'll notice is that we have this black square around it, and that's because I changed my parameters when we set all this up, and so it got all messed up. So it means that my image is actually within this black box, and so that's what I'm going to see. So probably not ideal, but that is the gist of it. So once this is done, you basically want to get yourself like a Vimeo membership or a YouTube channel membership or something like that, some way that you can post the video. You want to post that, and then you want to just email the URL to your instructor, and they will kind of grade what you give them in that way. So again, remember, give yourself lots of time to try these things. Make sure that you're careful with the file as you upload it. Double check it before you email it in, and but you should be done with your project, and we'll watch them in class and have a good time.